Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we've got some very exciting news for Bitcoin and some very depressing news for Solana because, you know, I've been singing the praises of Solana and my trust has been broken. I have a broken heart now, and I'm going to have to share with you why that is. And it's very unfortunate because I was just starting to regain trust in the Solana mainnet. We'll get to that in just a minute, but today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, how it's in a symmetrical triangle pattern that may be breaking out any day now, which could lead us into a massive rally. And then we're also going to talk about, of course, Solana's outage that you've been hearing about everywhere and what this may mean for the future of the project. It is a very sad thing. And so we're going to cover all of that in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. By the time you walk away from this stream, you're going to have a much better understanding of where cryptocurrency is right now. And you're going to have a much better understanding about what your next moves ought to be in the cryptocurrency space. Because I know all of you are in crypto right now thinking to yourself, gee whiz, there's a lot of opportunity here. How do I make the most out of that opportunity? That's what we're here to show you guys today. So let's go ahead and read some chat, and then we're going to dive right on into it because we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got Alex Nybo coming in first saying, good morning. Mean Beam Okerlund said, good morning. Sean O'Brien said, hey. Hi there, Sean O'Brien. Crypto Mini Bike said, good morning, everyone. Bees said, buzz, buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz. Joe Bollier's in chat. The French Toast Breakfast Club is in chat. Jesse Andrade, I'm not sure, is in chat, but good morning to you, Jesse. Mattis S is in chat. Satchet is in chat. RJ, Christina Orozco said, welcome back. Hope you had a good family vacation. We had a wonderful time. It was a whole lot of fun. Carlos Mejia is in chat. You told me how to pronounce that. J is pronounced like H in Spanish, which is why my name in Spanish is Jeb. You've got to put the phlegm in there, right? You know, almost like you're from the Bronx. DJ Morales is in chat. Overcome 70 by 7 is in chat. Somebody has been reading their Bible. Good for you. Annoyed Blue Lake is in chat. Let's see. One House Productions in chat. Igor is here. Juan is here. Man Glitter is here. Shadrach Frost said, good morning to the best crypto family on the YouTubes. Thank you guys so much. I want to ask you a couple of questions today. We're going to do a few polls. I'm going to start out with one poll right now. Should Sarah do a face reveal? Ooh. Should Sarah do a face reveal? If you don't know who Sarah is, that's my wife. And she has been on stream a few times, but it was only ever her voice. Her beautiful voice. So tell me what you guys think about that. Marat Yildirim is in chat. The best radio voice. The best radio voice. I've got a face for radio and a voice for radio. Only one of those is a compliment. Shadrach Frost is in chat. Said, folks, please smash that like button right away. It takes a second and it really helps out the channel. Give back the love and support that Jeb brings to us on a daily basis. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much, Shadrach. Really appreciate that. John Gabriel Malinab is in chat. Cool names in chat. Hola desde Panama. Hola a Panama. ¿Cómo está? All right. Lol, eye roll, Solana down again. My wife's called Sarah too. Oh, that's cool. Sarah's a good name. All right. So far, we've got 41 votes. We've got 80% of you saying my wife should do a face reveal. We shall see about it. We shall see. It's up to her. It's up to her. It's up to her, but I'll show her the poll. Let her know what you guys think. Sounds like you guys want her to. All right, we got to get started here. So good morning to everyone who is here. We're going to dive right on into it because we've got a lot to talk about. Man, I just got done talking about how Solana has not had an outage in almost a year. We're coming up on a year. There was a patch that came out in, I don't remember, March, April of last year, May. I forget the exact month, but there's a patch that came out, an update. A patch? What are we playing? Minecraft? There's an update that came out and that seemed to have fixed a lot of these issues, and was starting to gain some trust in Solana that it wouldn't go out. But let me just make something very clear. I am a fan of Solana, and I have a decent-sized position in Solana. The fact of the matter is that you should never, ever, ever, ever have an outage on a blockchain. Period. Full stop. I like what Solana's doing. I like that there are all kinds of consumer applications that are being built on it. I like the Solana phone. I like the transactions per second. I like how they've attacked the the blockchain trilemma of scalability, decentralization, and security. I like what they've done in that regard. But a blockchain should never, ever, ever go down. Else, good luck calling it a blockchain. Okay, the point of a blockchain is that it is supposed to be immutable. If you cannot interact with a blockchain, that by its very definition means that it is mutable. Cardano has never gone down for 1 second. Bitcoin has never gone down for 1 second. If I remember my history correctly, Ethereum went down one time, and it was very brief. It's more or less only ever going down. It's more or less only ever live. Solana has been down many times, and this definitely changes my opinion on whether I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging into it. I don't have such a large position at the moment that I'm thinking about just selling it, but I am very, very, very much considering not putting any more into it. So we shall see about all of that. Jeff Dayton said, "It's your fault, bro. You jinxed it." I know, right? Just had to jinx my bag, Jeb. I know it. It's all my fault. It's all my fault that Solana went down. I'm one of the engineers over there. Status.solana.com. Red. Outage. As of today, 4 hours and 40 minutes. You look over here, we had not seen an outage since, what was it, February? Yeah, February 25th. We almost made it to a year. All right? We almost made it to a year. You have to go all the way back to October before you find an outage here. But we've got one. CoinDesk is reporting, Solana engineers to deploy fix as network suffers major outage. Solana mainnet beta is experiencing a performance degradation, a validator said. Solana suffered a major outage on Tuesday. The network system status page shows. Solana mainnet beta is experiencing a performance degradation. Block progression is currently halted. Core engineers and validators are actively investigated, said Lane, a Solana validator, in an X post. In a follow-up post, Lane said that the validators had begun generating snapshots using their local ledger state or the most recent data before the outage to prepare for a restart. Excuse me. Back up a minute. You're telling me that Solana, a cryptocurrency that is worth $41.5 billion, is getting a restart? What is this, your MacBook? This is a cryptocurrency with $40 billion in value. And you're telling me we can just press the button and reboot? Now, we've always known that Solana could do that, but you're telling me we're just going to press a button and reboot the whole thing? Restore it to a snapshot? This is absurd. This is completely unacceptable. And as much as I am excited about all of the other things that Solana is doing, this, quite frankly, unwinds all of it. All of it. Think about it like this. Let's say you got somebody, and they're like a super righteous individual. They're like a really great guy, really great person. And then they kill someone. Like, sure, they were a great guy up until then, but then they just went out and cold-blooded murdered somebody. You see what I'm... You kind of have to back up and say, all right, yeah, they're pretty good otherwise, but they killed somebody. Like, do you see what I mean? Are you understanding what I'm saying? This is a big deal. Obviously, it's not murder, okay? It's not that bad. But the point is that you can have a lot of good, but you do one thing that's bad enough, and it starts to erase a lot of that good. And that's where I have an issue with Solana. This should not be happening. And this is very concerning to me. The new validator software released included a patch to address an issue that caused the cluster to halt. A status handle run by the Solana Foundation, which maintains the network, said validator operators should prepare for an upgrade and restart of the network, it added. Blocks seem to have last processed at 9:52 UTC. Data from Solana blockchain tracker show at the time of writing, Solana's token fell over 2% to $94 after the news came out. If we jump on over to the Solana chart, I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't dropped farther. Part of that might be because the blockchain is down, but you can see at about, what would that, we're UTC -5, so that would have been about 4 a.m. here. 4 and change in the afternoon. 4:52 in the morning, I believe it would have been here, because it was 9:52 UTC. 4:52 in the morning. Solana, let's see, let's go to today. Yeah, so we were right here. 4:52 a.m. Eastern would have been right about there is when the news broke. All downhill from there. So Solana did respond. As far as the price action did respond, we dropped 3.21% in the span of an hour and 10 minutes. And, honestly, I'm kind of surprised it didn't drop farther. I wonder if that's because people that use Solana have just kind of come to expect that you're going to see outages on Solana. But, I don't want to be a broken record here and just say for the 25th time, do not buy Solana. But that's, this is a bad thing. But, yeah. Let's keep that in mind. All right. Who is Sarah? Sarah's my wife. My beautiful wife. And many of you guys have been asking for her to... MacBooks don't reboot, right? Many of you have been asking for her to do a face reveal for a long time, so we'll see. All right. So let's kind of jump right into the regularly scheduled content. We talked about Solana. Let's not just sit here and rant the whole time, even though it is extremely disappointing. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Bitcoin right now trading at $42,910. It is down 1.25% in the last 7 days. We have been largely flatlining over the last week. We're going to talk about that in a moment because one of our principles of technical analysis that you'll learn in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, which you should absolutely sign up for, link is in the description box down below. One of the facts that you're going to learn in CT2A is that whenever you have low volatility, that normally is preceding higher volatility. If you come here and check out the Academy over here on Teachable, then you can see that we're going to have some videos in here. One of them is on Bollinger Bands, right here, named after John Bollinger. These were created, over 50 years ago now. And the Bollinger Bands represent they show how much volatility, i.e. movement up and down in the plus or minus direction, how much movement is going on in the market in question that is being charted. And the reason that the Bollinger Bands are important is because volatility tells us something. When we have very low volatility, as we do right now, which you'll see on the price action, if I bring it up, I bring up the Bollinger Bands on we'll go ahead and hide the drawings, bring up our BBs. You look at the Bollinger Bands out on the daily chart. They're constricting. In fact, we'll go to the 4-hourly chart. This will probably show it the best. They're constricting. 8-hourly. They're constricting very tight. As you can see, the Bollinger Bands are coming to be very, very tight together, which means there's extremely low volatility on Bitcoin right now. There is not an exceptional amount of bullish movement or bearish movement. We are largely sideways. And one of the things that you will learn in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, if you choose to sign up for it, and I think you should, all of our alumni, feel free to tell people in the comments whether you think that it is a good investment or not. Good, bad, and ugly. Tell them the truth. One of the things you'll learn there is that when you have low volatility, it normally precedes high volatility. So there's this cyclical nature of markets. Markets go from highly volatile to low volatility, and then they go back to high volatility. And if you're in one state, then that means that the next state is going to be the opposite state. So if you're in low volatility, that means that you are now looking forward to high volatility. The market goes from a state of high volatility to low volatility to high volatility to low volatility. The amount of time that you spend in each one of those states is something that you have to discern and determine with the real-time technical analysis, but you're always looking forward to the next state. And right now, Bitcoin is experiencing extremely low volatility. You can see we've been trading sideways and ranging here in the symmetrical triangle pattern, awaiting a breakout. And I am here to tell you, my friends, and this is one of our first takeaways, because as always, I like to give you guys takeaways that you can walk away with in case you, when you leave this stream, this is something I want you to remember and carry with you. One of the things I want you to carry with you is that when we break out of this symmetrical triangle pattern, there is a much greater than not likelihood, probably 70 or 80% likelihood, that it's going to be a very significant break. There are instances where Bitcoin will break a symmetrical triangle pattern like this ever so slightly and then keep trading sideways. So that is an option, but more likely than not, I'm giving it about a 75% likelihood that when Bitcoin breaks out of this symmetrical triangle pattern right here, you are going to see a return to volatility. And that volatility might take a little bit of time. It might not be just an immediate moonshot. It might not be just an immediate crash, but it will likely be the beginning of a cascading series of effects that will lead to a new direction in the market. And the reason that it is so significant is because that there are two competing camps right now. There's one camp, which I am myself currently in because I have not been confirmed otherwise, that Bitcoin is in an A, B, C corrective wave, and we could see a drop down to $37,000 or even down to 35. Down to 38 or even 35. 37 is another level there that's also relevant. This is the camp that I'm currently in because I have not been proven bullish. That being said, we also have the opportunity that if we break bullish here, I could be wrong, and we very well may start a new uptrend. And if we start a new uptrend, then we will confirm that uptrend by first breaking this downtrend, then breaking this zone between 44.3 and 44.7, and then seeing a Lux Algo buy signal out on the daily chart, which I'll show you right now. Lux Algo is currently bearish. And if we see here, we saw Lux Algo come in with a sell signal, trend catcher confirmed, gave us a take profit down here to $38,500, and Bitcoin hit that take profit. The argument would be here that we hit the take profit, and so we don't need to hit the take profit again, and so this sell signal is concluded. And that is very much possible. I will be bullish when Lux Algo turns bullish and when we break this zone. That has been my same stance for the last week and a half, and that's more or less been my stance actually even longer than that. So those are the two camps. And the reason that that all ties back into this shorter term triangle pattern is because when Bitcoin breaks in either direction, it's very likely going to lead us to making the decision as to whether or not Bitcoin is going to break bullish and start back towards all-time high, or break bearish and start back towards a new local low. So this symmetrical triangle pattern is very important, and that is your first takeaway from this stream, that if you are a chartist, you ought to be paying very close attention to this symmetrical triangle pattern. And in case you don't look at charts and you're only looking at coin market cap, then the numbers you ought to be looking for is that if you see Bitcoin trading above $43,900. If you're taking notes, you can write this down. If you see Bitcoin trading above $43,800 to $43,900, then you'll know that we've broken bullish out of the symmetrical triangle pattern, and that in all likelihood, we're going to be moving to the upside. Of course, we have to look at the technicals when and if that happens to be sure of that, but that would be a sign that we have at least broken this downtrend. On the other hand, if you're taking notes, you can write this down. If Bitcoin falls below $41,800, then we can confidently say that Bitcoin has set a new lower low below this low that was set on the 31st of January. And if we drop below 42.5, then we've probably broken below this uptrending level of support. So 41,850 and 42.5. Those are the levels of support that you want to see break that would likely be leading us into a new downtrend. At the moment, I am, and this is kind of funny, I am leaning more bullish. I'm thinking more so that we're going to break bullish out of here, but I'm bearish on the overall trend. And the reason for that is because I'm following the technicals, even if it leads to a kind of a funny conclusion. On the shorter term time frames, we have this triangle pattern, as you can see right here, which is a bull pennant. It's a flagpole, it's a flag, it's a pennant, it's a triangle pattern. All those terms mean the same thing. It's a triangle pattern because it looks like, well, you guessed it, a triangle pattern. It's a symmetrical triangle pattern because it doesn't look like this. That's an ascending triangle pattern. It doesn't look like this. That's a descending triangle pattern. It looks like this, which is a symmetrical triangle pattern. All right, that is something else that we teach over here in CT2A. If you'd like to learn more about triangle patterns, you know where to go, right over here. Check them out. We've got all kinds of videos on wedges and pennants right there. Boom. I really like that video. I made that video a few years ago. It's still just as relevant as it ever was, and I think it'll teach you a lot. Anyway, the reason that this symmetrical triangle pattern matters is because it gives us a price target. That price target can be drawn just like so, and it points up at 48.5. We also have an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which looks like this. If we draw our price target, that gives us a price target of roughly about $49,000. Those patterns make me bullish on the 4-hourly chart. On the daily chart, we're still looking at an ABC corrective wave, which makes me bearish on the daily chart. And out on the weekly chart, I am very bullish because we're in an overall bull market. So it's funny because this has been a recurring theme ever since I started the YouTube channel over 5 years ago now, almost 6 years ago now, where whenever I talk about different time frames, you can be bullish on one time frame, bearish on another time frame, and that is not a contradiction. It's not. It is not a contradiction. And I'll tell you why. If you draw what I just said, then you see something like this. Bitcoin could rally up here because we're bullish on the shorter term time frames. Then maybe it rejects at 44.3 to 44.7, drops down to $37,000 because we're bearish on the daily chart. And then on the weekly chart, maybe Bitcoin bottoms out somewhere around here and starts to rally later. And then that is what the market looks like when you extrapolate what our prediction is. You can be bearish on the short term, you can be bullish on the short term, bearish on the medium term, bullish on the long term. And what does it do? Well, that simply creates some kind of trend, something like this. In fact, I'll leave that there, I think, just so that we can see if that's what plays out. On the shorter term time frames, we have bullish indicators. On the daily chart, we've got bearish indicators. On the weekly chart, we've got bullish technical indicators and fundamental indicators. Okay? So that's my current stance on Bitcoin. Your first takeaway for today's stream is that you need to pay very close attention to that symmetrical triangle pattern because a breakout will be coming, and then we will end up seeing a very, very, very powerful movement after that, more than likely. So let's read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to jump straight on into some more technical analysis. Let's read some more chat. Verhoofdflufen is in chat. Mike Lowry said, good morning, everyone. Shadrach Frost is in chat. Eye of the Beholder is in chat. How'd it gonna drop if you can't sell it? Exactly, Eye of the Beholder. I'm glad you said that because I meant to mention that. If the Solana blockchain is down, how is the FUD supposed to cause it to drop? You can't transact in it in the first place. It's a complete mess. All right. Let's see. Market will definitely entice retail to go long. Absolutely. And at some point very soon, we are going to see a very large movement to the upside on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We're about to talk about that in just a moment. Verhoofdflufen said, is Sarah Jeb's wife? Yes, she is. Let's see. Queen said, Bedrock present. The right shoulder is too long. You're right, Eye of the Beholder. It's not the best inverse head and shoulders pattern. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not as confident on it as many other people are, is because it's just frankly not a very good looking inverse head and shoulders pattern. Because if you were to really draw it, it should look like this. And then right around here, we should have broken out. But instead, we dropped. So again, I've been mocked for it quite a bit the last week and a half, but I'm still on the side of the bears in the medium term. And we shall see if I'm vindicated. I could end up eating crow, but that's okay, because I'm going to follow the principles, because the trend is your friend until it ends. And I don't have a great reason to say that it is over just yet, but it might be before long. All right. Alex Kaimana's in chat, said, good morning, Jeb. Good morning to you as well. All right, let's talk about the next thing I want to discuss. If you guys watched the video that I uploaded yesterday, then you'll kind of know where I'm going with this, but I want to talk a little bit about why this correction is not something that you need to be super freaked out about. The reason that this drop on Bitcoin is something that you should not be terribly concerned about. I made a video on it right here. Bitcoin will hit 100K very soon, make millions in crypto in 2024. The reason that this video is important, and I want you guys to go watch it if you have not already, is because quite simply, many people, from sponsors even, to, which we're working on a few new sponsors, to individuals in the cryptocurrency space that I mentor or talk to individuals here in the chat, many different people in the cryptocurrency space are kind of spooked by the fact that Bitcoin dropped after the ETFs launched. And today we have billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars in trading volume that has occurred inside of the Bitcoin ETFs. And so many people are wondering, well, why did Bitcoin drop? That's very scary to many people. And I want to encourage you that it's not something that you should be scared of. When Bitcoin moves through the end of 2024, you're going to look back and you're going to realize that this is a blip in the radar. There are a few very bullish things going on Bitcoin, and this is kind of the second area I want to lean into today. And one of my other points I want you to walk away with is that this is a short-term correction on Bitcoin. This is not something that you should be spooked over. And I'm going to show you exactly why with facts and evidence so that you don't think it's just my opinion. We're going to take this in a few different routes, but the first thing I want to start off with is the United States stock market. Any of you guys that have investments in the stock market, you will probably know that the stock market is at all-time high. The S&P hit 496 points. DJI has hit roughly 39,000, almost 39,000. We are in all-time high territory for the United States stock market on both major indices. This is extremely important because the stock market is one of the largest correlative factors that Bitcoin moves alongside. If I go out to the weekly chart and I show you Bitcoin, let's go to a chart that doesn't have a ton of drawings on it, which is kind of hard to find nowadays because I've always got so much stuff on my charts. We'll just go ahead and factory reset this index out here. If we look at Bitcoin and overlay the SPY on it, let's start about 10 years ago. If we overlay the SPY on top of Bitcoin, then we will see something very striking. For any of you technical analysts out there who are used to spotting trends easily, you'll see what I'm talking about just by seeing the overlay here. But for those of you guys that are learning, and that is totally fine, we've all got to learn sometime, I'll draw it for you. Bitcoin hits all-time high. What happened before the all-time high run in the stock market? This was an all-time high on stocks. SPY hit 283 points here in the beginning of 18. It was right when Bitcoin ended its bull market. You can see here that during the time that the stock market was on a run, so too was Bitcoin. We see a run here on US stocks. We see a run right here on Bitcoin. Does that, I hope you can see that. As far as I know you can see it, but I hope that you can see the correlation there. Do green. I'm colorblind, so if this is like purple or something, then feel free to mock me in the chat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that colorblind. But you can see the run on Bitcoin corroborating with the stock market. Similar thing happened here. Obviously, we jumped off the metaphorical cliff when the pandemic hit. But in large part, When we saw the United States stock market go on a run, we ended up seeing Bitcoin go on a run as well. You see that? When the United States stock market hit all-time high and began a downtrend, it was right around the beginning of the Russo-Ukrainian war. February 19th? When did that start? First 2 weeks of February, the war in Ukraine began. And the United States stock market entered a major dip. I remember this happening because we were on our way back from Bitcoin 2023 as a team, and we saw that news was breaking, and our then chief marketing officer, Shannon, who's a good friend of mine, he is a big geopolitics and history nerd, so he saw what was going on, and he was like, hey, it looks like there's about to be a war. They're mounting troops and everything. And I was like, oh, yep. Stock market's going to crash, and so stock market crashes. What happens? Bitcoin crashes. You can see the similarity here. Stocks are in a bull market, Bitcoin's in a bull market. Stocks are in a crash, Bitcoin's in a crash. Why? Well, actually, even before we get to why, let me just prove it a little bit more. Again, I want to prove these things with facts and evidence and logic. We have a major run on stocks. Bitcoin's going through a major run. Stocks go parabolic. Bitcoin goes parabolic. Stock market breaks all-time high. Bitcoin doesn't. What's the deal with that? And airline food. What's the deal with that? Why is that? Well, the reason that Bitcoin hasn't broken all-time high and stocks have, as you can see here, stocks have broken all-time high, Bitcoin has not. The reason for that is because Bitcoin is undervalued compared to the stock market right now, because there's a lot of running to do. Bitcoin's got a lot of catching up to do. Same way that stock market was at all-time high right here, breaking all-time high, Bitcoin was not at all-time high yet, and then Bitcoin took off parabolic. Bitcoin would rally like 500% and stocks rallied, like 40%. Bitcoin is used to this. It's used to not hitting all-time high when the stock market hits all-time high. But then after the stock market hits all-time high, then Bitcoin will come back and it will run towards all-time high with much more vigor than the stock market did because it's more volatile. So I hope you can see the trend here. Going back 10 years, this is the same trend. Bitcoin is in a bull market because stocks are in a bull market. Bitcoin is in a bear market. It's normally because stocks are slumping. Here in 18 and 19, stocks were technically hitting all-time highs, but they were going through a lot of difficulties. There was a lot going on with interest rates coming down and whatnot at that time. 2018-19 was kind of the end of the golden era of the 2010s, and so Bitcoin was struggling. Now stocks are hitting all-time high. The last times that we've seen stocks break all-time highs, within 12 months, Bitcoin was breaking all-time highs and rallying hundreds of percent. We are in the same setup from a stock market correlation standpoint that we were in the middle part of 2020, which was just before the massive bull market that we saw. So the point here that I want you to take away from this is that when the stock market rallies, so too normally does Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin follows the stock market. Whenever people see their portfolios in US stocks doing well, then they diversify out some of those profits into riskier investments because they assume that if the market, i.e. the DJI or the SPY, generally they're talking about the SPY, if, quote unquote, the market is performing healthily, then you would anticipate the risk-on markets such as Bitcoin or tech stocks or new oil companies or startups or whatever would be doing very well as well. And so you see a lot of investment in risk-on markets. Mike Lowry said it very well in chat just now. Bitcoin is like an altcoin against the stock market. Exactly. Bitcoin is kind of like an altcoin against the stock market. So when people are seeing profits in stocks, they will rotate those out of the stocks and put them into Bitcoin. That is one of many factors right now that are going to lead to a major rally here in the next 12 months. But there's a few more that I want to talk about. One of them is the Fed Watch. If we come over here to CME Group, Fed Watch, you see the next FOMC meeting is in 43 days. We just had an FOMC meeting recently. Not a whole lot really happened. The interest rates did not change. We're still at 5.25. And the next meeting on the 20th of March, CME Group is predicting will still be a rate pause. Come May the 1st, though, CME Group is giving a larger prediction of a rate drop by 0.25%, 25 basis points, than a pause. And if you go out to June, 12th of June, 2024's meeting, they're predicting that there will be another rate drop. That is exceptionally important because when we look at the Bitcoin market against the effective federal funds rate, now we're cooking with oil here. And we raise this on top of the stock market, and you will find that during bear markets and during times of stagnation in the United States economy, i.e. the stock market, that normally is also occurring at the same time that there are large rate hikes going on. Similarly, when we get to periods of economic growth in the stock market, generally interest rates are very low or they are actively dropping. You can see when interest rates started dropping right here in late 19, stock market took off like crazy. Remember what I said about the 2018-19 area being a little bit hunky-dory? Towards 2018 and on into the very beginning of 2019, we were still seeing rate hikes. Quite aggressive rate hikes. In fact, we were up at nearly 2.5%. So that caused some stagnation in the markets. But you can see the plateau on the interest rate here at 2.5% lasted 224 days. Well, we've been plateaued already for that long. We've been plateaued, excuse me, not quite that long, but we're almost that long. We've been plateaued for 200 days. If you look back on the history of the effective federal funds rate itself, then you're going to find that the effective federal funds rate does not stay hiked for very long. I'll go ahead and take both of these off so we can see a little bit easier. The effective federal funds rate does not stay at a major high for very long. If we look here, you can see we paused for 231 days in 2019. In 08, right before the 2008 financial crisis, we were paused for a year and a half. It's highly likely, therefore, that we will see a rate drop at some point very soon, and it'll probably be a relatively aggressive rate drop. Even Jerome Powell said in the December meeting that the commission itself, the Federal Open Market Committee, which is made up of about a dozen people, they took a poll of everybody in the room, and the average prediction from the people in the room that set the effective federal funds rate was a prediction of 0.75% drop, i.e. 3 basis points drop by the end of 2024. They were predicting that we'd be down around 4.5. We're 5.25 right now. Generally, they were predicting there. Some of the extreme predictions were down towards 3%. Some of them were about 0.25 basis point drop. But I believe every single one of, was it 12 people on the FOMC? I believe every single one of them predicted that there would be at least one rate drop in 2024. And remember, this is not some random, BuzzFeed poll. This is a poll of the people that actually set the rate. This is a poll of the decision makers that are setting the number. So that is a very significant point. To build on that point, if we go back to Bitcoin, and we bring up the effective federal funds rate in the stock market again, whenever we see the effective federal funds rate drop, that normally sends stocks to an all-time high. Interest rates drop here starting in July of 19. Stocks go to a new all-time high. They move from 306 basis points, which you can see the scale for the SPY over here. There's 3 scales on this chart now because there's 3 charts up. But you can see the SPY is sitting at 308 basis points right here. Sorry, not basis points, 308 points right here. Rallies all the way up to 337 in the span of about 6 months. It adds 10%. That's a big movement on the stock market, which averages 10% a year if you go back the last 30 years. Similarly, if you go back even farther, well, actually, there is no data for that. That's the only time that we've seen interest rates drop in the entire history of cryptocurrency. But if you go back onto the effective federal funds rate and you overlay the SPY on top, give me a second to adjust the chart here. When you see the interest rates drop back here in 08, it doesn't immediately stimulate the economy because we're going into a huge crash. But what it does do is we eventually come out of the 2008 financial crisis largely because of the interest rates that had dropped. So generally speaking, what we're likely to see happen is a major rally on Bitcoin as a result of interest rates dropping, and those are likely coming up in just the next few months. And that leads me to my third and final point to show you that this bear market is that this correction that we're in is not going to turn into a massive bull market, and that is that the halving is coming up. If you go on CoinMarketCap, they've got a number right here tracking it. Halving is in 68 days. They are predicting an April of 2024 halving date. That is more than likely accurate. That's about when we're expecting to see it. Obviously, we don't know the exact date because it's based on the block time and is based on the number of blocks remaining. And the block time can go back and forth based on how much hash rate is on the network. But the point is, we're looking at April for a halving to take place on Bitcoin. Well, if we bring together all of these factors and we look at the United States stock market and we realize the U.S. stocks are moving towards all-time high aggressively. In fact, they're in all-time high territory already. As you can see, if we look at the past, we're likely to continue in all-time high territory. We look out on the weekly chart, bring up Lux Algo, which, by the way, is usable on every market, not just on cryptocurrency. We've been under a huge buy signal for a long time. Monthly chart, we're on a buy signal. Buy signal up here is sending us up to a middle point of 508. U.S. stocks are in great shape. Lux Algo is predicting very good things for stock market. All right, even MACD RSI predicting great things for stock market on weekly and monthly chart. The 2 charts that are really the most important on the stocks because they're a lot longer term chart than Bitcoin. There's likely to be a rally on the stock market still going on in 4 months. If you look at the CME FedWatch tool, we're expecting our first rate drop potentially in early May, which would be just a few weeks after the halving. Now, let's tie it all together in one nice, neat bow. I've laid out a bunch of evidence. Let's show you what the deal is. Looking back at the last bull market, we saw a halving event take place on May 12th, I believe it was. You can correct me in the chat, but I believe it was May 12th. We did not immediately see Bitcoin go into a bull market. Bitcoin would go into a huge bull market, just take off towards all-time highs several months later. There was a lot going on at the time. We had a global pandemic at its height, at its peak. People were very scared of everything, even Bitcoin. 6 months later, the dust has started to settle. People had finally been able to buy toilet paper, and people were still stuck at home, so they wanted to buy Bitcoin. But we ended up seeing a bull market in right around the time of the halving. The last halving that we saw was over here. Bitcoin had already started the uptrend. When we saw the halving, Bitcoin took off. The point, plus or minus 2 months of the halving. Again, halving is projected to be around April something, which is very, 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 very close. I mean, it's very close. Plus or minus 2 months or so, I believe you'll see Bitcoin breaking 49K and running straight back to all-time high. I think by the end of the summer, at the very latest, Bitcoin will be back at all-time high because historically, when we see a halving, when we see interest rates dropping, and when we see stocks at all-time high, you are almost certainly going to see a massive movement on Bitcoin. And that's why I believe very soon we will see a huge rally on Bitcoin. And very soon we will see a huge rally on Bitcoin. And why I don't want you to be super freaked out about this correction and about my predictions that Bitcoin could go as low as 35, because I also believe that by the end of the summer, Bitcoin will be back at all-time high. Again, the 3 reasons that you can go and talk about with your friends at the water cooler are stocks are at all-time high. Bitcoin normally goes into a massive bull market when stocks are at all-time high. Effective federal funds rate's about to drop. That's going to lead to quite a lot of investment in the United States stock market, which will send it even higher, which will then turn around and put money into the cryptocurrency space. And it will also lead, and the halving also historically has led and will likely lead Bitcoin into a massive bull market once again. All right, let's read some chat and we'll wrap it out here. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And we have a donation a little while ago. PJ Cornell just donated $5, says Solana could be the new IOTA. You can thumbs up a super chat now. That's really cool. Thumbs up. Solana could be the new IOTA. What do you mean by that? I'm very disappointed in Solana right now, to be honest with you. I'm very, very disappointed. How long can stocks stay an all-time high without dumping? Also bullish election year, and we might even get rid of Gensler a year early. Yeah, that's true. Those are also factors to keep in mind, guys. Absolutely. Queen said flight to quality. That's a quote from BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. There's a flight to quality going on in the markets right now towards things like gold and towards things like Bitcoin. Direct quote from one of the most powerful men in finance. All of my stocks profit will go into my first Bitcoin. Yes. Boom. Nice. The big money is treating Bitcoin like leverage to gold. That's as the end of 2022. Yeah, in a lot of ways. Psychedelic Sunshine said, good morning, Jebethians. Jebethians. That's a name right there. Hello from UK. Patrick Power said, good morning. Probably afternoon for you, but good morning from here. All the TA in the world won't help you if you can't understand human psychology. If not, I'll just roll that into alt and hold for the next 2 years. Yes, understanding is very important. Wisdom dwelleth in the heart of him that hath understanding. When wisdom entereth into thine heart and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee. So please seek wisdom and understanding and discretion and knowledge with all that you have. It is more precious than rubies, and nothing should be compared unto it. Market will definitely entice retail to go long. Yeah, I believe you're right. All right, we're going to read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to wrap it out. North Fresh Coffee Roaster said, morning, Jeb and crew. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Everybody else was laughing also at my $58 Solana prediction. With this drop on Solana, might happen. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right. If you like true decentralized stablecoins, buy ADA. Stick with Solana for the gains. Poor Cardano. Everybody calling it a stablecoin. Genesis agrees to settle SEC lawsuit for $21 million. Yep. Jeb, does the CME still matter if we already have the ETFs? Not as much, but yes, it does still matter. Arturo de Jesus, said, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. Proverbs 2:6 and 7. Seek wisdom with all that you have. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing is to be compared unto her. Let's see. Hello from the UK. Let's see. Thoughts on Arweave? I'm looking into it. I'm going to look into it. I haven't looked into it as much just yet, but I am pretty excited about some of the tokenomics. For example, if you look at the circulating supply, 99.17% is already out there. If you look at the chart, it is technically, in some ways, kind of a medium cap. Had a huge rally last bull market, up to $78, currently sitting at $8. Going over to the website. Permanent information storage. The Arweave network is like Bitcoin, but for data, a permanent and decentralized web inside an open ledger. Permanent storage has many applications, from the preservation of humanity's most important data to the hosting of truly decentralized and provable neutral web applications. The Arweave protocol is stable, mature, and widely adopted. As such, its ecosystem is fully decentralized. This site is just the tip of the iceberg. It acts as a map that points you in places you can learn about, use, and build on Arweave. Dive right in. The rabbit hole is deep, and the possibilities are endless. Arweave is being used in countless different ways. Take your first steps to the power of permanent data storage by uploading a file, making your own homepage on the permaweb, or simply learning about Arweave and its ecosystem. I would be interested in getting some Arweave. I think I might. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have been wanting to look into it, and I think it's one of those that I want to get some more projects that are outside of the top 20, outside of the top 50. Pew Pew Poom 2 said, look into SWE. Let's look at SWE. Why should I buy SWE? Tell me. Why? 11.6% circulating supplies out there. Ugh. Just launched last year. Interesting. So it's working on Web3, which, I mean, just about everything's working on Web3, but just directly kind of tackling that. I see. ZK login, right. Cool. Yeah, I will look into these. I want to look into some more altcoins, guys. I really do want to load up on some more of the smaller cap altcoins. I've got a pretty good insight on the big caps and medium caps, but I want to look more into the small caps. The charts tap into the mass unconscious and are low-level psychics. Yeah, you can definitely learn a lot about how people are thinking by looking at those. What's the best altcoin to invest in right now? I would say that there's no such thing as the best altcoin, because there's so many altcoins that are important. I wouldn't invest in just one. I would invest in a broad base of altcoins. Everything from Ethereum to Solana, maybe at least a little bit, because people will probably still buy Solana even despite the outage. I'm probably going to hold off for a month or so on putting more into it, but we'll see. Cardano, Chainlink has been doing really well. Our Chainlink's been doing phenomenally. I'm very excied about that. Scalability dApps more TVL currently than ADA. Look at that. Which, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, it's not hard to have more TVL than Cardano. It does have more TVL than Cardano. Look at that. Wow. Ooh. Okay. I'll give you that. $500 million in TVL for a cryptocurrency outside of the top 100. No, I'm sorry. It's not out of the top 100. It's ranked number 44. I was thinking about Arweave. Still pretty good. Still pretty good. A lot of devs on it. Interesting. Interesting. Market cap's largely tracking with the TVL. Cool. I will look into it. All right, let's read a couple more chats, and then we're going to wrap it out. Pew Pew Boom 2 said truth. Yep. In the crypto market, what would you invest in if you had $4,000? Depends on, well, you're asking what I would do. What I would do is I would put probably 1,000 of it into Bitcoin, 750 of it into Ethereum. That would leave me with 2,250. The 2250, I would split that and put 2/3 of it into medium caps and 1/3 of it into small caps. So 2/3 of 2200 is 7, of 2250 is 7. I gave myself hard numbers to work with, didn't I? The 825, no, not 825. 825 would be a third. 1650? Did I get that right? Oh, it's 1500. Duh. I should have been able to do that. That's easy. 1500 into medium caps, 750 into small caps. Medium caps, Chainlink, Cardano, probably a little bit of Solana, a little bit of Tron. There's a bunch of other cryptocurrency I put it in. Polygon, Arbitrum, Caspa. As far as the small caps, I probably put some in into VeChain, Arweave, Sui, like you guys were talking about. Both of those are great projects from what I can tell. Aave, Caspa. I've already said Caspa. Yeah, you have to do your altcoin research. You have to do your altcoin research and make sure you know what you're investing in. I'd rather you not invest in something, even if it's a good investment, if you don't understand it. But that's probably what I would do. And I would also probably split that up across 4 to 8 transactions and make it a dollar cost averaging position. Isn't ADA that's staked on chain not included in TVL? Yes, it is, and a lot because it's liquid staking. So yes, you do need to keep that in mind. When you sacrifice for scalability and speed, that's right. All right, I have one final question for you guys that my wife wanted me to put a poll on, and I agree. I thought it was cool. Is vacationing for rest or for adventure? Rest? Which one? What is a vacation more primarily for? Do you go on vacation to rest, or do you go on vacation to adventure? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. While we get that poll in, I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by none other than NordVPN. The reason that you want to sign up for NordVPN and that I think it would be a good investment for you is because it is very important that how you walk reflects how you think. And if you're in cryptocurrency, you're probably somebody that believes in doing things freely and hopefully doing things wisely and doing things righteously, but doing things freely and not being tyrannized. And I hope that you also believe in privacy and also believe in, security and not getting hacked. NordVPN is going to help you in all of those things because a virtual private network will allow you to browse the internet freely because your VPN will be shrouded, but it'll also help to protect you from hacking. So make sure that you sign up for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. You know the name, you've heard it before, but you're probably just saying, do I really need NordVPN? I'm almost certain you've heard of them. But if you sign up for the 2-year plan, it's not very expensive. You can get all your money back within 30 days. 30-day money-back refund guarantee if you decide you don't like it. And all you got to do is turn it on, and it will help to protect you from all kinds of hacking attempts, phishing attempts, scams, anything. Just about anything that's going to try and take your cryptocurrency. Any methods that hackers and scammers will use to try and take your cryptocurrency, NordVPN is going to help to protect you from. So make sure that you sign up for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. Right now, the poll is reading at 60-40 split. More people are saying adventure, though. I love it. Adventuring is rest from the monotony of life, though. That's true, Naked Director. That is true. Although I bet your life is not very monotonous if you were a movie director while being naked. You sound like a God-fearing man. I'll always tune in from now on, Crow Don. Well, thank you. I do try to. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7. All right. Vacation equals adventure, time off equals rest. A beach is an adventure, right? A lot of people saying both. Depends on how much you work. If you work as much as me, it's definitely for rest, right? What was the result for Sarah's face reveal? It was 68 to 32%. There were 300 votes. In my stage of life, it is for rest. Cosmo said it's for adventure. This is a very interesting question. CT2A, invest in learning before investing. Yes, Shadrach Frost. CT2A, invest in learning. Listen, when you acquire knowledge, you will then have the ability to have understanding. And wisdom dwelleth in the heart of him that hath understanding, and the promises of wisdom are a long life and peace. Their length of days, riches and honor. And that doesn't necessarily mean that if you learn more, you're going to be richer. There's plenty of people that are very faithful, that are poor. Maybe that's where the Lord put them. But generally, the promise of wisdom is that you will have you will have an abundant life. Abundance does not necessarily mean money, but it certainly does not exclude money. When you build a wise life and you walk out in wisdom, and the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, remember, when you walk your life in wisdom, you will have an abundant life. That abundant life may be abundant joyous relationships. It may be eternal life in heaven with Christ. And it also can mean riches and honor. And so I implore you, seek wisdom. But remember that wisdom dwelleth in the heart of him that hath understanding, and the only way that we can have wisdom is by first acquiring knowledge, which is why I have made it my life's mission to teach you knowledge and wisdom so that you may have discernment and understanding and go and have an abundant life. I want that for you. I care about you, and I want the best for you. And so that's why I created the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy almost 6 years ago, teaching you guys how to do analysis on cryptocurrencies and on stocks so that you can make profitable trades and investments. And that is why we created the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. This academy has had over 5,000 students go through it. And we have taught all of them how to do analysis on markets so that they can go and generate wealth for themselves. I wish I knew the amount of money that those 5,000 students have made. I'm sure at this point it would be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. All of the people that went through this course have learned more about how to do technical analysis and therefore have more knowledge and therefore have more understanding and therefore have more wisdom, which leads to an abundant life, which doesn't necessarily mean money, but it most certainly does not exclude money. They have a more abundant life because they've done that. If you go and learn about technical analysis, you will be storing up wisdom and understanding and knowledge that will help you to succeed in the cryptocurrency space. Everything you saw me do today is in the realm of technical analysis, comparing and contrasting markets, looking at trends, looking at patterns, forecasting future results, and planning for all of those future results is technical analysis. And so if you want to learn how to actually work in the cryptocurrency markets, you must make an investment in your education around technical analysis. It's a little bit like a heart surgeon understanding how to use a scalpel. It's a little bit like a mechanic understanding how to use a wrench. For you to be a profitable trader and investor, you must understand how to wield the tool of technical analysis. So make sure, if you have not already, to sign up for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy with the link in the description box down below. I do believe you'll be very blessed that you've done it. The eye of a needle was a narrow city gate in Jerusalem. I didn't know that. Really? That is a really cool fact. Huh. Is that true? The fake gate theory. I'm going to look into that. That's interesting if that's true. Shadrach Frost said, I made a few bucks. You can rest when you're dead. Yep. The more money you make, the more humility you need to have. Camels have to bow their head to pass through the eye of the needle. Yeah. Yeah, you need a lot of humility. And just like anything, you have to be very careful with a blessing, because if you can't control it properly, then it could destroy you. And there's a reason why I wouldn't give my 3-year-old the keys to my car, because he'd go and get himself killed. At the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm never going to give him a car. It just means that I want to see that he has shown the capability to maturely handle that blessing. And so when my son is old enough that he is capable of driving and he is capable of doing that in a mature and responsible way, I will give him a car. And in the same way, if I can, and if that's right for him, maybe it's not, but generally, I probably would if I was able to. All right, at least let him drive mine. Similarly, God's not necessarily going to bless you with millions of dollars if those millions of dollars would just destroy you. The prosperity of fools shall destroy them, the Bible says. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Proverbs 1:31 and 32. The prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Why would God, being a loving father, give you prosperity if you're a fool and you'll destroy yourself with it? So accrue knowledge and wisdom and understanding so that if he were to bless you financially, you would be able to control it, and he'd be much more likely to give it to you. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that's why wisdom is so important and only given to those in the favor of God. If ye ask, you will receive. James 1:5. Go read it. The Lord upbraideth not. If you ask for wisdom and you fear God, he will give it to you. He will. Period. If you ask him for wisdom and you seeketh it out, he will give it to you. And I can promise you that, because wisdom crieth in the streets. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I'll make known my words unto you. That's what wisdom says. Wisdom says, I will stand up on a tower and beg for you to listen to me. I will give it to you freely. You can have it. Come and get it. But ye have said, and not all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. And the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Wisdom begs you to listen to her, but if you don't listen to her, natural consequences are to come. Natural consequences are to come. you're too smart to believe in an unproven God concept. Or maybe I've thought about it and looked into it. As the Bible said, a wise man looks well into the way of his going, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. If you just speak to the Lord and Savior every day, you'll be at peace. Yeah. Is Jeb freestyling rapping? No, I'm quoting scripture. No, I'm not freestyling and rapping. I'm quoting scripture. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it out. We're way over time. And yeah, really excited to see where all of you guys are going to go in your lives. And I love that I get to be a part of it. So continue to accrue wisdom, continue to accrue knowledge and understanding and discernment. For these things will bless you. And I do appreciate all of you for tuning in. Before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.